John Bucieri. Now let me tell you a little bit about what I stand for, and then a little bit about the endorsements, because I heard Mr. Schiffer talk about endorsements. And then I'll even talk about some of the issues. You know, what I always tell everybody, 9 months ago, I'll bet none of you in this room knew who I was. Well, 9 months ago, neither did any of the Republican Party. 9 months ago, neither did Ohio Right to Life. 9 months ago, neither did the House Conservative Fund. 9 months ago, neither did the Medina County Republican Party. 9 months ago, all these endorsements I've got, nobody knew me. So the question is, how did I get these endorsements? Now you hear all kinds of stories. Well, this guy got the endorsements because he's got a lot of money. You know what? I will tell you this. I got these endorsements because I started day one trying to figure out what it takes to get people's support. And I started shaking people's hands. And I started going to each one of these people and saying, I'm going to run. And I told them the story I just told you. And I was able to get them to believe in me. Now the other falsity that you hear, well, once you got those endorsements, the money just rolled in. Baloney. I can tell you that. The money doesn't roll in when you get the endorsements. You're welcome to look at my FEC reports, and you'll find out that money did not roll in from the Republican parties because I got the endorsement. The only thing the reason I was able to get the money was to be able to go out, shake some hands, tell them who I was, and get people to believe in me. Because remember, it's just important, to get people to believe in you, and that's what I worked extremely hard in doing. So, you heard some of those endorsements. You talk about a conservative. I am an extreme conservative. I have the House Conservative Fund. Congressman Pence. How many people know Congressman Pence? Congressman Pence is a supporter of mine. Congressman Pence is, if you ask me who I'm going to mimic when I go to Congress, it's going to be Congressman Pence. He's the guy that I look to. He's a supporter of mine. Congressman Price, another very conservative congressman, is a supporter of mine. The House Conservative Fund, and I can go on and on and on. Concerned Women of America have endorsed me. None of them knew who I was 9 months ago. What do I stand for? Well, I'm going to tell you what I'm running, why I'm running, and then you'll hear what I stand for. Number one, I tell everybody there's 3 reasons why I'm running. The first one is today you're not represented by John Bucieri. You're represented by Nancy Pelosi. John Bucieri votes 94% of the time with Nancy Pelosi. And I'm running because you need somebody who's going to represent you in Washington. That's the number one reason. The second reason I'm running, and it's the one that distinguishes me from the other candidates, because as you heard, we have 4 candidates, all very good candidates. What distinguishes me from the rest of the candidates is 27 years of business experience, 27 years of raising a family, 27 years of building business from scratch, 27 years of starting from nothing. Again, I'm proud of the American dream, and I think the American dream is what we need to have going into the future. We need to have people who have lived the American dream and understand it. 27 years of employing people, 27 years of creating over 1,500 jobs, 27 years of standing behind the elderly and supporting the elderly over my life. Those are the reasons I'm running. That's the second reason. The third reason, and that's the issue reasons, the third reason I'm running, and this is why I'm running as a Republican, because I tell everybody, this isn't a Republican issue anymore. This is an American issue. And if I had to stand up first, I always say I'm an American first. I'm a Republican second. And why am I a Republican? Because I believe in 4 primary values. I believe that we need less government. We need government out of our hair, and I'm the one who can tell you I've had to experience enough that nobody should have the type of government pushed down them like I've had, but none of you should have it either. The second reason, I believe in less taxes. We cannot have an economy grow if our taxes are taking our money away from us. Third reason, I believe in personal responsibility. That's something we have to get back to, because without personal responsibility, we're never going to get this nation back, and that's a cornerstone, number 3. And the fourth, but the most important, is I believe in a strong military. And I believe that our country and our Constitution was written to protect our freedoms. The number one reason for our Constitution was our freedoms. And the number one thing we need is the strongest military. Not to attack, but to defend. And to always be the leader in this world that says, this is right and this is wrong. Those are the 4 reasons. When it comes to life issues, I am pro-life from conception to natural death. All right? and that's important. And I say from concession, and I was the only candidate endorsed by the Ohio Right to Life. When it comes to illegal aliens, I heard Mr. Miller use my line. I always say illegal is a simple word. Anything illegal, whether it's an illegal gun, illegal whatever, illegal is pretty important. Illegal aliens, simple, they're illegal, we need to remove them. As far as the Second Amendment, I'm pro Second Amendment. I don't know about, some of the other candidates might talk about it. I'm a gun owner. I've been a gun owner for 25 years. I'm a life member of the NRA. So not only do I defend the rights of the gun owners, I have a gun. The other thing that I think is important, and I would tell you about all these issues, look at the candidates and look at their backgrounds. When I talk about being a supporter of the Second Amendment, you'll find things in my life that I have actually defended the Second Amendment. One of them was the mayor of Wadsworth. We had a gun store coming into Wadsworth, and people were up in arms. So if you want to know how I'm going to act as your representative, I probably had 1,000 calls trying to stop the city from letting a gun store come into Wadsworth, and I was the only one that stood up and said, that is their right. That is the right that this gentleman to have this gun store, and I'm going to stand behind it, even in the toughest times, which is what you want when you send somebody to Washington. Somebody who's going to stand up for those issues. As far as taxes, I will tell you this. I'm a firm believer that the 2001 and 2003 tax cuts that are actually going to be suspended next year need to be maintained. They save everybody $1,200 per family. We need to keep those in there. I'm an opponent of the alternative minimum tax. How many people know what the alternative minimum tax is? It affects almost every one of you. You probably don't know it, but next time you're with your CPA, ask them what the alternative minimum tax affects you, because it does. Capital gains tax, I do not believe they should be raised, and I see we had this issue. They're going to be raised through this health care bill. And the fourth thing, which really affects our farmers, but I'm a firm believer in it, is the death tax needs to be eliminated. You're taxed your whole life. You're taxed to death your whole life. And then when you die, John Bocherry just passed it, 45% death tax. That should be eliminated. That's a double taxation. We pay enough taxes. When it comes to the health care bill, I will tell you this. I signed, before John Bocherry voted for it, I already signed with Club for Growth as someone who agreed to repeal the health care bill if elected. Now I will tell you though, repealing the health care bill will be an impossibility. And I know you don't want to hear that. And the reason it's an impossibility, anybody else can tell you, I'm going to repeal it. It's because you need a supermajority in Congress to repeal the health care bill. And until we get that, and if anybody thinks we're going to get 70% of the House and Senate this year, I hope you're right. I really do hope you're right. But I'm fearful that we're not. I believe that what we need to do is get the majority so we can defund the health program. And that has to be the most important thing we do, defund it. And then rip it apart. We'll take all the bad things out of it. There are some things in there that I think can stay, but they need to stay in the public sector, and it needs to be pulled out of the government sector. When I say what should stay, I think pre-existing conditions are an issue. I think cap on certain health issues like cancer. I think those caps need to be eliminated. We need to take care of the safety net, people. I've said that all along. I believe the safety net needs to be taken care of, but I just believe, as I just said, the safety net needs to be taken care of.